Hi. You're probably all wondering why I have this very old picture of Roosevelt on the screen. So this was taken in 1910 when he came to Cairo, Egypt to inaugurate the American College for Girls. This was actually the high school where I got my Ph.D. diploma, and it still exists to that day. And if you go to the school website, you'll find this picture, and you'll find that code attached to it. And that's what Roosevelt said that day, and he emphasized how important it is to educate women. So I grew up with these words engraved and ingrained in me. So a few years passed, and I got my high school diploma, and I graduated top of my class. I qualified to join any school I wanted, and I chose to join the pharmacy school. I joined that school because I've always been fascinated by finding cures for people's pain. So I joined the pharmacy school. A few years later, I graduated. Again, I graduated top 2% of my class, started grad school in Cairo University. And then I decided I want to come to the US to get my Ph.D. So I went home that day, sat with my parents, and I said, I'm going to leave to the US. And what do you think? So they looked at me and said, you know what? We'll be worried because we'll be thousands of kilometers away, but I think you worked so hard for this, you deserve it. We know you'll handle yourself well, and you know you'll be able to take care of yourself. And at no point during that conversation, my gender was an issue. They've never said, you know what, you're a girl, you cannot go. You cannot go alone. You don't need a PhD. So that went well. I came to the US, got my PhD here at Purdue, got married, and a few years later, my husband and I decided to start a company. So we started a company around cancer research, and when we first started the company, we sat together again and had this conversation. So what's your strength? What's my strength? Who should do what? And he said, you know what? You like the business, you head that department. I'm good at the science, I'll be the head of the science. And again, during that conversation, my gender was never an issue. He never said, you're my wife, you cannot be the CEO. You're my wife, you cannot be my boss. It was just, what's best for the company? What's your potential? What's your strength? And that's how it went. So one day I was on a business call, and the guy across the phone said, he stopped me actually, he said, where are you from? So I said, I'm from Egypt, originally. And he said, wow, your husband must be a very open-minded guy to let you be the CEO. So if you know me, I'm never speechless, but I was for a few seconds. I'm like, okay. Because, he said that and it hit me in so many ways. For so long, I was under the illusion that my husband, my father, my brother are normal. Turns out they're not normal, they're special, they're open-minded. So, here I am. I speak 3 languages. I've been on my own for the last 20 years. I graduated top of my class, got a PhD, started a company while juggling a family and raising 2 kids. And somebody just came and with few words just took all that away from me, just like that. And he reduced me to this oppressed person who needs somebody in her life to tell her what she can or cannot be. And ironically speaking, that was the first time ever in my life that I actually felt oppressed. Like, why are you saying that? So I thought about it, and I said, you know what, does that type of woman, does that version of women that he had in mind exist? And of course the answer is yes, they do exist. There is somebody oppressed out there, but it's not just in the Middle East. That type of woman exists everywhere. It's in Europe, it's in the US, it's in Australia, it's everywhere. It's not just in the Middle East. But the problem is, or a lot of people, they take that woman's story and try to make it my story. They actually take her story and try to make it every woman's story in a big, large area of the world. And that was kind of not right. And I found myself in my mind saying, you know what, talk to me. Don't talk to my ethnic features. Don't talk to my ethnic clothes. Don't talk to my beliefs or religion. Talk to me. Don't talk to my husband. Don't talk to your preformed idea of who I might be. Just talk to me. Get to know me. And I was going through, down this rabbit hole, and I said, stop. Pulled myself back out, and I said, you know what, the researcher in me says, you gotta be objective. So let's think about it. Maybe I was lucky. Maybe everybody in my life was open-minded. And that's why I achieved what I achieved. So let's look at the women in my country or in my region. So I try to pull up some statistics here. So if you look, actually in Egypt, 30% of all households are actually supported by women. You'll see in the professional field over here, women top men. Even in professions where you think women, you don't expect to see women, you'll see as farmers, fishermen, even handicrafts occupation. So women are not just sitting there waiting for somebody to take care of them or tell them what they can or cannot be. So let's go beyond Egypt. Forbes Middle East actually ran a few articles. One of them was regarding the top 10 most powerful women in politics in the Middle East. And if you look at these women, each one of them holds a very high political position in her country. Could there be more women in politics? Yes, but they are there and they're working on it. So they also ran an article about the most powerful businesswomen in the Middle East. And that list is so big. I only included a few examples. So if you look at, for example, the lady at the bottom right, she inherited one of the biggest healthcare groups in Dubai, Al Gorj, right? When she inherited that, she stepped up, expanded it to 24 companies, and she has over 370 international partnerships. She is the deputy chief of Dubai's healthcare. She's the president of Business Women Council. She has impacted her country's politics, economy, the medical field, and guess what? Also the feminist movement in her country. And it is so sad that sometimes people look at her and they will never guess that. They just probably think her husband is open-minded, right? Other women here, you'll find the head and CEO of Kuwait's largest financial institution. She is controlling $74 billion in fund. You'll also find the woman who started an investment company in Kuwait. She took that company to the London stock market, and it was the first company to be listed in London Stock Exchange. Even when the recession of 2008 hit and her company was delisted, she single-handedly was able to restructure that company, take it back to profitability. So women are out there, they're very strong, they're not that oppressed as people think. But again, you may tell me or you may think these are some privileged women that come from very rich families, they have good education, they don't represent the normal common middle-class woman. So the answer to that would be in the next slide. So Iqbal, she is a refugee. So she's been through a lot. She didn't have the easiest of lives, but she holds actually the Guinness Book of Record for being the youngest physician in the Middle East. She was able to win a scholarship to Cornell School of Medicine in Qatar, and she holds that title under that dire of circumstances. So it's not just confined to women of privilege. Every woman is fighting a battle. Every woman is trying to get what she thinks she deserves. You may think that I'm trying to say that women in the Middle East are fine and happy and they have all the rights they want. Absolutely not. What I'm trying to say is that they have some rights, we celebrate those, and we're still working on the ones that we think we still deserve. So that picture shows an Arab woman around the time of the Arab Spring, and there was an uprising. Women are asking for more rights. They're asking for what they still think they deserve. Beyond the Middle East, women are still fighting for their rights. So it's not just the Middle East. We all know what she went through to actually get her right for education. Even in the West, even here in the United States, women are still fighting the battle for the rest of their rights. So it's not just that the Middle Eastern woman is the one that is oppressed or she's still fighting for what she deserves. I guess what I'm hoping to say is that if you think about it, if you see a woman from the Middle East. Just know that she's actually exactly the same as any other woman in the West or anywhere else. And even though I'm using women as an example because it is something I can relate to, what I'm saying actually applies to everybody else, men and women. So the next time you see somebody who looks different, speaks different, dresses different, try to peel all those layers. Peel that ethnic feature layer, the ethnic clothes, the religious beliefs, the skin color, and talk to the person behind that layer. Because all of us we have the same desires, we're going after the same things, we're fighting the same battles, and we have the same struggles, and I hope I've shown that. So what I'm trying to say that we are, most of the time, a lot more alike than we are different. Thank you.